Hello and welcome. This video is going to be my reseller recap for October, where I go over where I am for my goals for both my reselling business and also this YouTube channel, as well as my actual net profit numbers from all the platforms that I sell on. So I'm going to give you to Other Bob, and she's going to go over my wall of accountability. Welcome to the wall of accountability. So this is for October, and you see I actually did really well this month. But there's this big empty space because that is where I was in California. So I couldn't list, but I was still selling a few things. If you are new here, the way my wall of accountability works is that the green numbers are the number of items I sold on all of the selling platforms. The blue numbers is I am listing the same number of items I sold the day before on eBay and then adding an additional $100 of value to my eBay store. The red number is the actual total number of items I listed, so that's 7. So 3, and then I listed 4 more items for $100. And then it just repeats itself if, you know, I do what I'm supposed to do. The orange numbers are because the yellow was not showing up on this, but these are my whatnot numbers. So this means this is how many items I sold in my whatnot auctions. So I sold a total of 40 items there. And we can see up here, I sold a lot less numbers, a lot less items. Well, technically, I sold 127 items, which is about average, but that is because of Whatnot. And of course, I'm selling them for a less amount on Whatnot than I would if I had waited and sold them on eBay. So Whatnot was good because it saved my butt, and I'll get into that when I get my net profit numbers, but it's still October. I definitely took a third of October off, and the numbers show that. So I'll give you back to Bob, and she'll talk about the goals and the numbers. Thanks, Other Bob. So the first goal that I had for 2022 was to go full-time reselling. I've already done that. I did that at January 31st, 2022. I gave my full-time 9-to-5 job. I can't believe it's been almost a year. My 30-day notice, because I've worked for them for almost 10 years, so I gave them plenty of notice and quit my job. And so that one, check, done. It's been done for a while. The second one is the wall of accountability. And as Other Bob tried to explain, that is my modified goal, because I had to modify it, is to list the same number of items I had sold the day before on all the platforms, but list the same number of items on eBay. And then add an additional $100 per day. So, you know, Other Bob already explained it, but I technically did that in October because I did do that for every day that I was physically here and actually able to list. So, you know, I was in California for 10 days, so those technically don't count. So I technically made it this month by not being available to list for a third of the month, but I'll take what I can get. So I technically did it this month. Now, if I can do it for a full month, which would be in November, that would be awesome. I'm getting there. It's still a struggle. The third goal is to hit 10K on eBay for a 90-day running total. Because I had my store and vacation mode on eBay, that did not happen. The numbers went down. So that is a little concerning, because, you know, Q4 is supposed to be where everybody makes the most money, and because my store was on vacation mode for a third of the month and I was not listing for a third of the month, that number has gone down. And I do not want a repetition of June, but I kind of ended up with a repetition of June, but I'll get into that when I get to the net profit numbers. Death to death pile, I came with like 3 very full suitcases from my time in California, so that didn't get any progress done, but I have listed almost everything I brought back from California by now. There are a few pieces that need some mending and more research, which is why they're not listed, but you know, I should still have them listed by now, because it's been like, what, this video's coming out in November, and I came back on the 14th of October. Should I have everything listed by now? Yeah, but I don't, so the death pile is still the thing. And then to get to 5,000 subs on YouTube. So while I was in California, Matt was kind enough to share me with his audience. I know a lot of you came here from Matt's channel or my collaboration with Matt, which again, he was so generous with his time. Or you came here from Courtney Common Tag's channel because she also did a couple of videos where she talked about our thrift trip as well. So I actually ended October with a huge jump in numbers. I basically gained like 18% of my current subscribers in like a week. But I ended October with 3,071 subscribers. My goal is to get 5,000 by the end of the year. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I am very grateful, those of you that have decided to come and hang out with me from either Matt or from Courtney's channel. And both of them were so generous with their time, and they're just really lovely people, and I appreciate you guys coming and giving my little channel a try. So thank you. But now I'm going to get into the net profit numbers, and as I said, I basically had a repetition of June, except it was even worse. And that is honestly because I wasn't listing for or doing anything with my business for 10 days, and that hurt. That definitely hurt. So for those of you that are new here and haven't watched one of these reseller recaps before, in order for me to pay my fixed expenses, so that's like my mortgage, my HOA dues, my electricity, my water, all that kind of like the flat static things that roughly stay about the same every month, for me to live, it plus my income taxes as well is roughly around $1,350. I don't have a car payment, and I got a really good deal on this house that I live in. So thankfully those costs are low. So it's $1,350 to pay my fixed expenses. Now this doesn't cover gas, that doesn't cover food, that doesn't cover like entertainment. So like for all of October, you know, I went to California, and that just pretty much ate into my savings. But I had kind of planned for that. Again, I had planned when I left my 9-to-5 job to be covered for a year, to supplement my income for a year, including a trip to California. And that happened. So I did not make $1,350 in the month of October. So I am going to share with you what I did make, and I'm going to start with my lowest performing platform and work my way up. So the first platform I have to share with you is Etsy. I made a net profit on Etsy of $16.94. So Etsy for me normally picks up around this time of year, but because Etsy and Poshmark, both of those, when you go on vacation, they just turn off. Like people cannot buy your stuff. They do not have access to it. It's gone. So I basically turned them off for the beginning of the best part of the year for sales. So I do not recommend taking a vacation in October. Suffice to say, my next performing platform would be Poshmark, because again, I turned everything off. And I made a net profit on Poshmark of $20.05. So both of those are really low. Both of those were completely shut off for a third of the month. My next best performing platform actually was Whatnot, and I sold 40 items, as you guys saw on the wall of accountability, on Whatnot. Plus I had some affiliate money come in as well, but I just count it all under one thing because I am a Whatnot influencer, and those links are down in the description below. It's basically, instead of getting a $10 referral credit, you get a $15 referral credit, and then Whatnot gives me money as well. So you get a little bit more than the average affiliate code, and then I get a little bit more because I'm an influencer. But I just wanted to be transparent about that. But I also sold 40 things on Whatnot as well. Actually, Whatnot has been doing much better at the end of the year than they were when I was this time at the end of last year, because I have been on Whatnot for a year now. $229.72 is what I made off of Whatnot in the month of October. So that is a lot more than normal, and I am so grateful for that. That definitely saved my butt coming back from being in California, and doing those Whatnot sales definitely helped me out financially. Because the best-selling platform, or normally the best-selling platform for me, which is eBay, I actually only made a net profit of $789.62. So under $1,000 for me, which has not happened since June. And that's very stressful for me personally, because again, we are towards the end of me trying to be a full-time reseller for a year, and to have the first month in quarter four be as bad as June when the summer slowdown was happening, that's concerning. And I can just hope that it's only because I was on vacation and not that we're in a severe recession and people just aren't buying stuff, because that would suck. But yeah, that's a little bit concerning. But again, I was on vacation. I was gone for a third of the month, and I was not listing, and I was not doing stuff for my business, and a couple of my platforms were shut down. Also, I completely closed my Facebook Marketplace account because I hadn't made sales on there in forever. Like, I hadn't made sales on those in the entire month of October, even though I left it on. And I hadn't made a sale since the beginning of September. So it'd been 8 weeks, so I just deleted all of my Facebook posts. So Facebook Marketplace is not something I'm going to spend any time on. I have been trying to turn my Mercari back on. I don't know what's wrong. It will not let me do anything on Mercari. It keeps trying to get me to do the two-factor authentication, and then it just doesn't send me the code. I've tried to talk to them about it, and they don't know what's wrong either. So that's not helpful. So it just might be eBay, Whatnot, and Poshmark, and Etsy, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I also share with you guys the other income streams that I have that are from this YouTube channel as well. And the first one I have to share with you is Buy Me a Coffee. I don't really talk about the Buy Me a Coffee link that's in the description, except for these reseller recaps, because I don't really promote anything, just like I don't tell you guys to like or subscribe. It's just not my jam. It's there if you want it. So I have Rebecca to thank for buying me 3 coffees, and that is because I helped her ID, unfortunately, a fake Adidas piece. Adidas is Adidas in American. And I feel really bad. Like, she bought me 3 coffees for me to tell her that her Adidas piece wasn't real, and I feel really bad about that. But I do have an employee book that's very thick. It's actually worth about $200. And I did work for Adidas for 4 years. So I know a lot about Adidas, and I felt really bad that the one time, like in the last 6 months, I've been able to help somebody with it. It's fake. And then they still were nice and bought me coffee. So Rebecca, thank you if you're watching this. And I hope your next Adidas piece is not that way. But thank you. And then the next income source, I don't know how to segue off of that. The next income source besides the Buy Me a Coffee was my anthology, and that is my 70 brand guide that is carried by Anthropologie. That's linked in the description. It is a free guide if you want it to be free. You just type in 0, but some people have been ridiculously generous, and I'm so grateful for that, and decided to donate money or give me money for my time putting that together. And I earned $53.72 from my anthology. I am still updating that. It has been taking me a little bit longer to update it than it did for me to originally put it together, which I was not expecting. But that's because new brands have come in and other brands have gone out, but some of the older brands, or some of the brands that are no longer carried by Anthropologie, are still worth being in the guide. So like, I've had to figure out a little system for that as well, because I feel like it's still important to know those brands, if that makes sense. But a new update hopefully will be out before the end of the year. Hopefully. So the total net profit from all 4 platforms that I resold products on, and from my anthology, and from the Buy Me a Coffee link, I made a net profit of $1,123.56. So that is significantly less than the $1,350 I need. So, you know, last month I made $1,538, and October I made $1,123.56. So, you know, if I didn't have a good September, I'd probably be a lot more stressed out here in October. Those numbers still need to come up. So I don't know. What I've decided to do to try to get my numbers up and to maximize quarter 4 here, if you guys didn't see my last video, I am going to be doing Thriftmas, but I'm going to do Thriftmas a little bit different. I'm going to hit up 24 different thrift stores, and none of them can repeat. So I'm going to actually go to a lot of thrift stores I have not been to before, or I don't normally go to. And then I'm going to try to pull out as much good reselling inventory out of that store as possible, which means I'm going to go through every single section in the thrift store, which is also something I don't normally do. And everything has to be listed by the end of the video. So that means you're going to get daily uploads in December, as long as my body doesn't give out on me. And that means I'm going to also be doing a ton of listing in December, because I need this to work. I want to still be a full-time reseller. So hopefully those of you who did not know Thriftmas was happening, you're excited about seeing me every day in December. And if you're wondering why there are 31 days in December and I'm only going to 24 stores, that's because I've also left 7 days so I can do my reseller recap video and also do my what sold videos. So it works out kind of great, actually. But I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye! Bye.